So people, don't get me wrong, I would love to have a new Raging Blast Budokai Tenkaichi type of game to play, since I have been a big fan ever since Budokai Tenkaichi 2. But the bitter truth is that we probably never will put our hands on a new one again, as me and other Raging Blast 2 players speculated a lot over the years. We also did our research and came to the sad conclusion that it is very unlikely for there to be a new Raging Blast Budokai Tenkaichi type of game. In this video I will talk about 5 reasons for exactly that. Number 1. Bad IGN review. Back in November 2010, IGN released a review for the brand new Dragon Ball game, Raging Blast 2. And it was devastating. Don't get me wrong, back in 2010 IGN reviews still meant a lot compared to nowadays. First, the author is complaining about the lacking story and later moves on to how hard the controls are, and then states that button mashing alone can win you the game. He says about the game that it, quote-unquote, sadly just isn't very good. As for a reason, he continues with the remark that, quote-unquote, the fighting just isn't well done, it's overly complicated, and it becomes clear the further you read that the author of the article just didn't want to put in the time necessary for being able to judge the game properly. He goes on about quote-unquote frustrating combat mechanics, which displays again the lack of time he put into playing the game before writing the review, but to be honest, who can blame him? The tutorial on this game is so lackluster that it is no miracle that people don't got to play it properly. However, the game has been encrypted, and the meta became what it was later on, but this is a topic for another video though. So to sum up the review, it was an outcry for a more simple game, which we sadly then got. This game displays another reason why we won't get Raging Blast 2, and it is or was called number 2, Ultimate Tenkaichi. So them wanting an easier game resulted in what we got later on, Ultimate Tenkaichi, which basically was a rock, paper, scissors with quick time events and character creation. So when I got the game, I played it for like 10-20 minutes before I took it back to the store and yelled at the owner for selling it to me, and of course then got my money back. But yeah, it was proof that Bandai Namco clearly asked Spike to create a more simple game for people to pick up, and it went downhill ever since. If some of you remember maybe Battle of Z with the 2-button mashing, so things looked really bad for the Raging Blast and Budokai Tenkaichi fan base. But there still was hope. A French guy named Trivex, number 3, Trivex RB3 project, created the so-called Raging Blast 3 project, where he gathered fans' wishes for a new game. He also did a ton of artworks and concepts for the game. And by the way, there is a petition to sign if you want Raging Blast 3. I link it in the description. Please go and sign it. So the guy went to talk to Bandai Namco at Japan Expo, I think. And Bandai really appreciated his work and took some of his ideas for their upcoming games, but they actually never started working on the beloved project and the fan wishes he gathered. So there is still his Facebook page you can like for him to get more attention. Also, he has a YouTube channel where he showcased his project. I will link his Facebook and YouTube below as well, so you can check it out for yourself. But it kind of is very late, and hopes for such a release got crushed by time, seeing that even if the community asked for a new Budokai Tenkaichi or Raging Blast type of game, it won't be made. And to make our circumstances even more sinister, the former development studio of Raging Blast 2 and Budokai Tenkaichi, called Spike, so this is our number 4, Spike, doesn't exist anymore. At least not in the way it did when Raging Blast 2 came out. Spike's used with Chunsoft and is now named Spike Chunsoft. So this is another indicator which makes it even harder to believe that there will be a Raging Blast 3 for us. And another obstacle is number 5, the high entrance barrier. So for Budokai Tenkaichi Raging Blast type of games, as the year passed and the game got unraveled by its community, more and more it became clear that the game might be easy to play, but sure hard to learn given the fact that its mechanics are unique in the fighting game genre. So new players would get destroyed on repeat without chances to improve due to the lack of a proper tutorial for the game. Which brings me to my next and final point for this video. The skill does not translate. So the skill does not translate from any other genre or game. Not like, for example, 2D fighters. Let's take the example of Fighter Z, which is a typical 2D fighter at its core. So people who played 2D fighters such as Street Fighter or Guilty Gear in the past will at least have a portion of their skill translating to Fighter Z. But for Raging Blast 2, for example, the skill developed is miles away from other traditional fighting game genres. So it's a unique fighting game. It is a fighting game with unique mechanics. Not even the very basic ones are comparable to fighting games such as Tekken or Dead or Alive and so on. So therefore, for Bandai Namco, it is strategically risky to make a game that doesn't have a set player base already. So let me conclude. As you see, the foregoing reasons show that it is highly unlikely for Bandai Namco to release a game with such fighting mechanics again. If they did though, then they would for sure need a way better tutorial and trials like in other popular fighting games nowadays. I actually do have a list of things that should be done better with a new Raging Blast type game. And if you like this video and subscribe to me and show your support, then I will make a video about exactly that. And also let me know in the comments if you would actually like a Raging Blast 3, and if so, why. Peace!